We had a couple of great weeks all together. At first, we had Startup Week together with Nelly Kroes and Prince Constantine. Secondly, we had the Dutch Hacking Health with 4 university medical centers running a hackathon a whole weekend, inspired, ignited by patients themselves. And after that, we set up for our Future Health, a conference with over 40 speakers, 20 global locations, also in terms of live stream, trying to figure out and to share how they work with innovation. And now this, a great venue, a great week, great inspiring people, but also great energy. And as our Secretary General, Erik Gerritsen, always says, it's more like something like a trampoline. And that's exactly what we should show in this little video.
Gravity's got a hold on me, and I'm looking for something to set me free. Gravity's got a hold on me, and I'm looking for something to set me free.
That's exactly what we should do. Start flying and start engaging on everything that we do, and Monday morning at 8:30, really start and engage with it. Because there's speed needed. As Klaus Schwab, the director of the World Economic Forum, says, we're in the midst of the 4th industrial revolution. Steam engine, mass production, then came the internet, now comes the Internet of Things, and maybe we should say it's the Internet of Data, because that's exactly what we're talking about. From small innovations, waves of innovations, we face a tsunami of innovations over the next years, also in eHealth, where not only innovations will accumulate, but also from product innovation will start to mingle and merge into system innovation. And that's exactly what we need. We have too many ecosystems, as I like to call them, and we need ecosystems. Secondly, the thing that's also happening is that it's more about entrepreneurship and agility. The pace sets the tone. Let's face it, we're getting more and more digital. Who are we? Are we still human, or are we digital? Are we zeros and ones, and how to cope with that? I really think that's some of the things that boggles us. And everywhere you hear over the course of the last months, it's a bit like spring is in the air. It knispers, it's tingling, and everybody's talking about implementation and upscaling and really talking and engaging on the eHealth aspect, which is fine. And I think we really should. In terms of the first phase, creating awareness and inspiration, I think we've almost reached the critical mass for that. The next phase, of course, should be that from the innovation and creation, about like 20% in the Netherlands, I think, that's just an educated guess, is really working and engaging on it, and the rest is still trying to figure out how it really works. Thirdly, the implementation and scaling part, that's the toughest part, as all of us know. And I think like 20% is really trying to get a strategy in that and to figure out how to operationalize that. It's one thing as a chairman of the board to say that we're going to the left side and to innovate, and the other one is to change your culture in your organization. And that's exactly where also the boggles are, of course. And in the end of the day, when we have those 3 phases, we should also try to evaluate what does work and what not. Let's face it, at present we see all kinds of startups with promising results, and in the end, maybe they're a bit disappointing. But we need those ideas, we need those startups to really gain control and to gain friction and action into it. This was the state of the internet in 2009. Healthcare professional not even close to being online, actually talking about the internet as some kind of a voodoo kind of thing. Over time, things have shifted. In the middle, we meet. Patients, family, informal care, and professionals really meet and start to engage, and that's the phase where we are right now. And that's also where we need innovation. And in our terms, at Reshape Center, this is what innovation is, from 0 into 1, as in the book from Peter Thiel, that is called in the same way, from 0 to 1. Peter is, by the way, one of the co-founders of PayPal. The second part, from 1 to 100, that's what we call implementation. Again, extremely important, and actually they're both equally important. And the thing is, we should also harness them like that. Without the innovation, there is no implementation, and the other way around. So we should keep doing both, and actually both alone and together with patients, of course, over and over again. At the wrap-up of our Future Health Conference 2 weeks ago, our Secretary of State had a great quote. Things have changed the world more than politics. And he's so right with that. Let's face it, all the great innovations that we have, you are carrying within your pocket. It's not the people that have done it, it's the things that made it possible and the people who invented it, of course. And that's also one of the things we see at present, there where we at present still take cardiac EKGs at bedside with 24 leads. It's also possible with the back of your phone. And then 2 weeks from now, the wristband from AliveCore that you could connect to your Apple Watch is also being FDA approved, and you will take an EKG by just doing things like this. And maybe in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months, this little business card, which still is a gimmick for 28 cents, of course is not creating a real-life EKG, but trust me, in a year from now, it's possible. And that's the midst where we are. The midst where we are, where, for instance, my earbuds that are completely wireless, giving me the opportunity to listen to my music and take a phone call, not only is doing that, but when I look 5 seconds up in the sky, it would say, hey, Lucien, you're in Amsterdam, looking into the sky. Let me give you your weather report. Secondly, it's packed with all kinds of sensors, measuring my heart rate, my respiration rate, my skin temperature. So the thing that's happening right now is that these medical devices, more and more are coming into your everyday life in technology that you use. And this is actually a completely packed system with all kinds of sensors. So we really think that from academic healthcare, it's going to shift to top clinical healthcare into supermarket healthcare, from supermarket into the home, and then there's next. And the next is from hospital to phone, I really think, and not to home. Because you are where your phone is. 24/7 at elbow reach, you got your hub. And that's the connection system into it. Also, healthcare, just like Dan mentioned yesterday, is getting more and more global. And we really should work on that. And again, a great achievement for Dan to introduce the system that he did yesterday with great examples for connected care with a new platform and also in addition to existing ones. Our question at Radboud, however, is how could we become, for instance, faster, better, cheaper? Or should we take a different approach? And that's exactly what we're doing. Not only from trying to get better, faster, and cheaper, of course, but we also take on the mindset to become obsolete. Because if that's the mindset that we start to work on, in the end of the day, we can cope with all the challenges also from a technological perspective that are hitting our everyday work, actually. We've calculated that about 70% of all the routine stuff that we're doing in the Radboud University Medical Center, in 7 years from now, no longer will be done at our location. So healthcare is becoming delocalized. And that also says something about from bricks to bytes, but the most important thing is to change the behavior and the culture of it. And that's the hardest part. So we've taken on a challenge, and this is our new challenge. Digital first, physical next. And that's our goal over the course of the next 5 years. For those patients who can and want, we want to offer by default a digital alley for them, freeing up time and energy for the other ones that are not able to or do not want that. And it's basically the same as you guys all are doing yourselves. Electronic banking, first electronic, and then you step into your banking office. And that's exactly what we're trying. As you might know, and the chairman of HIMSS mentioned it in his opening speech, in 2015 we were one of the 3 all paperless hospitals, and we're still very proud on that. So the question is, what's next? And I want to show you what's next in our perspective. One of the things is about video conferencing. One of the goals of the Ministry of Health in the Netherlands to have that up and running now within 3 years from now from everyone. Last weekend, we've migrated our whole IT system into a system where 7,000 zero clients, and I think the IT people in the room know what zero clients are now able to run video conferencing on a 24/7 level. Have never done before yet. Secondly, for the ones who dearly need it, we also have like 30 rooms where you can mingle and have your video conferencing in a specific room with all kinds of gadgets needed for it. So video conferencing is now embedded in our regular system. Now starting to enroll for all patients and all professionals, and we now of course start with the deployment and the training, because again, it's the behavior, it's not the technology in it. The second thing we are doing is this. A year and a half ago, we were very proud to be in the keynote of Apple when they introduced Apple's Healthkit. As a matter of fact, as you can see at the left side, we were at just like a soccer commercial at the back end of it, and people start asking me how much I paid to get in this commercial, but which we didn't, of course. The problem, however, was that the regulations in the Netherlands, as opposed to all the other ones, which we're able to run it within a couple of months, was so tight that it took us a year and a half to make it possible. But with great pride, I can announce right now that as of September 1st, we will enroll Apple's Healthkit combined and connected to Epic at the whole of Radboud University Medical Center, and that's exactly what we call patients included. So that's not a screen picture that we'll put into our system. No, it's real data, it's executable numbers that we also can use in research. That is where the shift is going on. It's not about pictures, it's about executable data, as you can imagine. And also based on Apple's Healthkit, which is a great system. Apple's researchkit gives you the opportunity to do research. As an academic medical center, that's one of our core business. But you have to be able to code to make that happen. And most researchers are not able to do these kind of things, let alone patients. So we created Reach. And Reach is a platform connected at present on Apple's Research and Healthkit, where with a drag and drop system, patients can create their own research. So patients and patient unions are now able to create their own research based on Apple's Healthkit, sending out code in a generic app or to submit it into the App Store or the generic app from your patient union, for instance. And by the way, researchers can use it as well if they want, but for us the aim, of course, is patients, as you can imagine. And the third thing I really would like to introduce to you is that we now are going to enroll massively FDA and CE clear devices that are going to mainstream. And today we introduce our Connected Health Kit. It's based on our concept that's called Hereismydata. It's completely connected to Epic, so everything that the patient sends in directly goes into their system. And it's based, by the way, on an Android system for it right now. It's based on a scale, a blood pressure meter, pulse oximeter, and temperature, complete with a pre-configured tablet. And again, available to all our patients and all our departments, so that's where these things are going mainstream. And we've built this in exactly 10 days, going backwards today with a team at Radboud University, our information management group, my own people at Reshape, CloudDX, Epic, and the guys from Redox. It's an eHealth conference, so I would like to try to show you a live demo of how this actually works, just also to show that it's not only PowerPoint ware, as you can imagine.
De dirigentenkamer.
Ja, de dirigentenkamer zou je moeten zijn, maar dat is nu afgelopen. Maar het is goed. De dirigentenkamer. Oké. Ja, dat is nu. Goed.
Want ik dacht dat jij voor mij...
Is het klaar? Zo? Dan ga ik hierheen.
Nee, ik heb tafeltak.
Even
op tafel alleen. Ja, alleen het beamer, ik weet niet, er komt iemand zoeken voor de techniek om de beamer aan te krijgen.
Radboud. Dan ga ik naar mijn dossier. Ja. Er staat voor metingen.
Ik heb hiervan geniet.
Ziekenhuiscontroles.
Het is ontzettend leuk om met dit soort dingen mee te kunnen werken.
En die staat hier. Moet je even naar boven toe, naar de datum. Ah, dat is het. Yes? Okay. And we're proud to announce today that together with CZ and Medic Info, we will start to enroll this kit not only for polypharmacy, heart failure, but also an employer program that we will enroll over the course of the next month. This is also the start of an innovation alliance between Radboud University Medical Center at one end and CZ healthcare insurance companies at the other one, which we have been preparing for months for now, and to start to engage on every actionable side of healthcare innovation. Let's face it, healthcare is going to become a software business. We're here in the stock exchange, and this is the New York Stock Exchange in the mid-60s. 8,600 people working over there with funny coats, funny hats, bragging about and trading bonds and stocks. This is the same place, 16 working stations. Still 8,600 people working there, but now they keep their algorithms healthy, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. And that's also what we are going to try to do. This is basically the same. There's algorithms. This is a ICU nurse in Phoenix, Arizona, on a Philips Taylor LCU system that monitors 250 ICU patients in the region as an additional service to the ones that are present. And that's also one of the things that we are going to enroll, hopefully at the end of this year, early next year. A telehealth and telemedicine center for Northwestern European scale, where not only on the high accuracy level, as you see, but also, as I showed, with all the devices like the scale and the blood pressure meter, also from Philips, at the service center level. And then bridging the gaps in between, because that's exactly where we think things are heading. What we really think is that we, for the first time in history, can be able to be present when a person gets sick. Scrolling back the data, seeing exactly what happened, and from that, trying to create predictive analytics out of that. Like I said, I was in ambulance service for 35 years. And I think in my lifetime, I will meet the situation that somebody rings my bell at my home, and I open up, and a former colleague of mine, together with an ambulance, will be at my doorstep and says, "I'm here for the cardiac arrest." And I said, "There's no cardiac arrest." And he said, "What a bet?" Because based on predictive analytics, we will be able to see these kind of things. Yesterday in the news, the NHS in England, based on a patient with heart failure talking in a smartphone, for 66% is able to detect whether or not a week out, so prior to the moment in time, whether or not there is an event going to occur. That's talking in your smartphone. So those are things that keeps us awake. We really think that professionals will start to subscribe to patients' data from your earbuds, from your phones, from the technology that I just showed. And we also think that the middleman is going to become disrupted, not only by blockchain and these kind of technology, but also by all kinds of other things. These are the things that are keeping me awake on night. I write about that on my LinkedIn blog. If there would be questions afterwards, please find me on Twitter. And please don't waste time thinking about things. Just step on it on Monday morning at 8:30. Thank you very much. Ik heb nog één filmpje dat ik je laten zien dadelijk.
Thank you, Lucien. Well, wow. Not only did you paint the future, the healthcare of the future, but you also announced 3 really breakthroughs in e-health, in healthcare in the Netherlands. Congratulations, it's
Thank
really
you very
cool.
much. Our 2 cents.
Annemiek Vroom told us Wednesday that video conferencing and e-consult would help her and would really change her life as a patient. And she wouldn't spend any time anymore, expensive time spending in waiting rooms and traveling time. And you announced that the Radboud University Medical Center really is introducing e-consulting and video conferencing right now.
On scale.
Really great.
No, we want to work on our 50%, of course. Thank you.
It's very, very fast. Can you tell me, how did you convince all the professionals in your hospital working on this and deploying this system?
Well, first of all, we don't convince people, patients do. Let's face it, video consultation, I speak often to colleagues who say, my patient population is not ready for video conferencing. And then I asked whether or not that they might be Skyping in the weekends with their grandchildren in Adelaide, for instance, because that's the reality.
Yeah.
Nowhere else than in healthcare, these kind of technology has not become mainstream. And it's not about technology, it's not about reimbursement, because it's completely reimbursed, as still a lot of people do not know, but it's completely reimbursed. But the thing is, we have to change our behavior.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest part.
Exactly.
So by bringing it into the hands of them, low thresholds, starting to engage with patients with it and just try and figure it out, we really think that that's the way to do it.
Great, thank you.
I would like to conclude with a small video, which is all about innovations. You cannot imagine that penguins are about innovations, but trust me, halfway the video, you will start to recognize colleagues of you. So this is where the resistance starts to build up at the right side, as you can see. People are completely in despair, looking the other way around, thinking maybe if tomorrow, if I don't look, it's gone away and it's passed by. And these are the unions craving for more jobs and everything that's going with it. And when the third one goes across the border and takes the rope, and even the fifth one does exactly the same, that's where these guys say, so let's have coffee. This doesn't mind anymore. Thank you very much again.